now going to be signed in Kesser Brachos. It's the class been looking for about 7 years. So these are simple. There's left half and Real, and hopefully we'll do Rabbi Siyum.
So the last just under 2 weeks have been very roller coasterish. We were very excited that we were getting close to finishing this. And then 2 weeks ago tonight, Rabbi Gedalia Dov Schwartz, Zecher Tzadik L'Vracha, who was a Rebbe of mine, passed away. They have basin of the CRC. And then 2 days ago, Hannah's uncle, Barry Solomon Baruch Ben Shalom, passed away very suddenly. And we buried him yesterday in Eretz Yisrael. And besides that, it's Hannah's brother's yortzeit today, David Tzvi Ben Mordechai. So before we're Messiah, I just want to have an important idea on Brachos. We've mentioned several times, I've discussed it here several times, about why are there certain mitzvahs we don't make a bracha on. And some of the, let's say you give tzedakah or you do kibbut of aim. It happens to be that most of these mitzvahs are beinodim l'chavero, between man and his fellow man. Why don't we make brachos on the mitzvah between man and his fellow man? Some say because, let's say for tzedakah, maybe the other person is going to refuse your tzedakah. So if you make a bracha and then you don't give it, you made the bracha on nothing. Some say that a lot of those brachos that don't have these brachos on, there's no limit to them, and brachos is only on something that's a limit. I guess according to that, that's why the Ramban would have to say that brachos of Torah is midiraisa, because Torah has no limit, but that would be its own category. But I thought that there's another reason we can give why on brachos between man and their fellow man there is no bracha on. Whereas for bracha mitzvahs that are between man and Hashem, we do make a bracha. And the reason is when we make a bracha on a mitzvah, we say, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu. Blessed you Hashem, the King of the world, that you sanctified with our mitzvahs and you commanded us to do whatever. However, mitzvahs meidadam l'chavero, even though the details might be based on halachos, it may not be what we would have intuited by ourselves. Rabbeinu Nisim Gaon, in his introduction to Shas, mentions that rational mitzvos, and a lot of them are between man and his fellow man, people did them even before Har Sinai. You didn't need the Torah to tell us that we were commanded in them to do them. So it could be because of that, it's not shaykh to say that Hashem commanded us with his mitzvos and told us to give tzedakah. People knew you have someone's in need, you have to help them out. So because it's not something which is specifically that Yisrael was sanctified with, perhaps that could be a reason why there are not mitzvah brachos on mitzvahs be'adam l'chavero. Here in the last few lines, at Samach Daled Amud Aleph, Amar Rabbi Levi ben Chia, Hayotza mi beis hakneses v'nichnas beis hamidrash v'osek b'Torah zocha mekabel pnei hashchina. For someone who leaves shul and goes to the beis medrash to study first thing right after shul, and he's busy in Torah, he will merit and receive the Shechina, the divine presence. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Yechel Michael Chayil Yarelu Kibbutzion. You'll go from Chayil Chayil, so sometimes you translate from strength to strength. Artscroll translated from multitude to multitude. You will be seen towards God in Siyum. So this being seen by God, that's Shechina. So it doesn't exactly say why Chayil Chayil, what that has to do with tefillah or davening, or tefillah, or learning Torah. A couple reasons that it has to do with Torah is that chayil be someone a valiant person. So warriors can be valiant warriors, and there's a fight of Torah that we do when we study for the Torah. Another explanation could be that in Az Yasher we say Kivachel Paro, when the chel of Paro, the soldiers of Paro, came, and then Hashem threw them and drowned them all in the sea. So we could also say that that is about that the people who study Torah are those who are kind of the army of Hashem, and so that's why chel might be talking about Limud Torah. But what does chayil have to do with tefillah? So if you look at the pasuk here in Tehillim, this is talking about the Beis Hamikdash, or that's how Rashi at least talks about it. So from that, it makes a lot of sense because in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, most tefillah happened with the korbanos. And now that we don't have the Beis HaMikdash, tefillah became much more important. So the chayil, there was a part of the Beis HaMikdash which was called the chayil. So that could be how this pasuk is talking about tefillah. So you're going from tefillah to learning Torah, then Ger Elokim, you're seen by God. So meaning that we merit to get the Shekhinah. Amar Rabbi Bar Ashi Amar Rav. Talmidei Chachamim Ein Lehem Menucha Lo B'Olam Hazeh V'Lo B'Olam Haba. Rabbi Bar Ashi said in the name of Rav, Talmidei Chachamim do not have rest, not in this world and not in that world. Shneimar Yelchu Michayil Yer Elokim B'Tzion. So it's the same pasuk, a different interpretation, but it means whether they're learning in Torah in this world, they're going to be learning Torah in the next world. They're not going to be busy. I mean, they're going to be busy because they're going to be learning Torah. Amar Rav Elazar, Amar Rav Chanina. Talmidei Chachamim Marbim Shalom Ba'olam Shnamar B'Chol B'Naich Limudei Adonai B'Rav Shalom B'Naich. Talmidei Chachamim increase peace in the world because the pasuk says in all of B'Chol B'Naich, all of your sons or your children will be those who learn about Hashem, and Rav Shalom B'Naich, and your sons will have much peace. Atikar B'Naich Ela B'Naich. Don't say that it's, even though literally the pasuk means, and the pshat of the pasuk is your sons, Ela Bonoyach, but read it that it's talking about Bonoyach. We say this in davening every week. So most people translate this that you're builders, that the people who are Talmidei Chachamim are builders. But I heard from Rav Aaron, he told us a few days before we graduated high school that he doesn't see that builders have anything particular trait of increasing peace in the world. He thought that this word bonayach is from the root being of intellectual. That the intellectuals who are learning Torah, they are increasing peace in the world. Before we read the last few lines, Chamda, you know why we're here right now? So Abba was learning part of Torah every week with people here in the shul, and we're about to finish it, and we're very happy that we're finishing a part of Torah. So that's why we're having this special thing right now. And I know you like baby Chemda stories. Can I tell you a quick baby Chemda story? No? Okay, I'll tell you later when we're at home. But when you were a baby less than one, you would come, because mommy had a class when I had this, and you would come in the stroller and you would sit quietly in the stroller while we were learning Torah in the room over there. So we have a Shalom Rav Le'Oveis Arasacha Bein Lama Michshal. There's a lot of peace to those who love your Torah, and they won't have a stumbling block in front of them. So again, the idea of connecting Torah and peace. Yehi Shalom b'chelach shalva b'armanosayach. There will be shalom in your chel. So again, chel, we just had that a few lines above. And in that pasuk of Tehillim, that whole parak of Tehillim is talking about Yerushalayim. There'll be peace in the Beis HaMikdash and peace in your walls, or whether with inside the walls and right outside the walls also. Lamana chai v're'ai adabra na shalom bach. For the sake of my brothers and my dear people, I will speak. Please, there will be peace for you. Laman beis Hashem Elokeinu avaksha tov lach. For the sake of the house of Hashem our God, I seek goodness for you. Adonai oz amoitein Adonai v'rach semav hashalom. Hashem will give strength to his people. Hashem will bless his people with shalom. Not al derech pshat, but oz, strength by itself is a very important trait, the idea of strength. But azus panim, if it's connected with the face, azus panim is chutzpah, which is a bad trait. So we could say it's not the pshat, but the fact that the pasuk talks about oz and shalom in the sake here might tell us that sometimes we have to take a piece out of strength and not a piece out of weakness. And of course, the Gemara, the mission at the end of Shas and Uktzin says that peace itself isn't the goal, but peace allows us to have to accomplish more. Hadron alach haroav uslikalach machsekas brachos. And before I say the Hadran, I want to thank everyone who participated in the Shiur for the past 7 years. At the beginning, Larry Wanger and Alan Slatke. Larry's with us on the Zoom here. They were the one, after we were learning the laws of the Malachos of Shabbos, I said, what should we learn next? They said Gemara Brachos. So we started it, Baruch Hashem, we finished. Next week we'll start, hopefully, Perek Arvei Pesachim. I want to thank everyone who came to the Shiur all these years, and right now, big Mazel Tov and to Mike and to Jeff for, I had to be on my toes for them. Hadron lo Masechas Brachos v'Hydrocholan. Daitcholan Masechas Brachos v'Daitcholan. L'Nisa Sheminach Masechas Brachos v'Sista Sheminan L'Bama Dei L'Baba Da'asei. Hadron lo Masechas Brachos v'Hydrocholan. Daitcholan Masechas Brachos v'Daitcholan. L'Nisa Sheminach Masechas Brachos v'Sista Sheminan L'Bama Dei L'Bama Da'asei. Hadron lo Masechas Brachos v'Hydrocholan. Daitcholan lo Masechas Brachos v'Daitcholan. L'Nisa Sheminach Masechas Brachos v'Sista Sheminan L'Bama Dei L'Bama Da'asei. Your Tomal Fanach Adonai Eloheinu Avosenu. Shay Torascho Nosenu B'Lamazevs Hey Imanu L'Olam Haba. Chanina Bar Papa, Rami Bar Papa, Nachman Bar Papa, Achoy Bar Papa, Abamari Bar Papa, Rafram Bar Papa, Rachish Bar Papa, Sorcha Bar Papa, Adi Bar Papa, Daru Bar Papa. Arevna Adonai Eloheinu Es Reisor Chavavinu V'Yos Am Beis Yisrael. V'Nei Kulanu Nachnu V'Tzetzenu V'Tzetzei Am Beis Yisrael Kulanu Yidei Shemach V'Los V'Lo Medei Sorsach Lishma. Mo'ayvayt Chakminu Mitzosach Aki L'Olam Hili. Hili Bim Samim B'Chukach L'Man Le'Vosh. L'Olam Lo Yishkach B'Gudacha Kivam B'Chisani. Rachat Adonai Ladenu Chukacha Amen 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 Salva Ed. Odi Menachnu L'Fanach Adonai Eloheinu B'Avosenu Shesamto Chakinim Yoshei Beis Hamidrash Shesamto Chakinim Yoshei Kranos. She'anu Mashkimin V'Hem Mashkimin. Anu Mashkimin L'Divrei Torah V'Hem Mashkimin L'Dvarim B'Telin. Anu Amel V'Hem Amel. Anu Amel L'Kablim Schar V'Hem Amel V'Enim L'Kablim Schar. Anu Ratzim V'Hem Ratzim. Anu Ratzim Chayelam. Abba V'Hem Ratzim L'Vershachas Shnamar. V'Atah Elohim Tordim L'Vershachas Anshidamim Mir Lo Yechzu Yimehem V'Niach Tachbach. Your tongue for Nach Adonai L'Haik Shem Shazarteni L'Sayim Masachas Brachos. Keita Azreni L'Hascham Masachtos Osvar Macher L'Sayim. L'Mod L'Amed L'Shmar L'Asos L'Kaimes Kodevrei Samat Versach B'Yava. L'Schuz Kol Tanaim V'Moraim V'Samidei Chachamim Yamel Leo Zari Shlo Samu Shator Mepi Umepi Zari V'Zera Zari Ad Olam. V'Siskayim Bi B'Hisalachcha Tancha Osach V'Shachma Tishmar Alacha V'Hakitos Ahisa Sichacha. Kivir V'Yirbu Yomecha V'Yosifu Lachshanos Chaim or Chamim B'Minach B'Ismala Osher V'Chavod. Adonai Ozeh Moyitain Adonai Berech Samov Shalom. V'Skadash Shmer Ba. Amadihu Asim V'Skadato. V'Lafai V'Sayo Lasaki Yosam V'Ayomo. V'Mivnei Kartu V'Yushalem. V'Shacholo Hecholei V'Gavei. V'Mekar Pulchana Duchrami Nara. V'Lasavo Pulchana Dishmai Lasrei. V'Lichtu Tzabrichu V'Machu Sevi Karei. The Chaychon V'Mechon V'Chayv V'Chabeis Yisrael. V'Aglav Yizman Karim V'Vim Ramei. Yehi Shmei Krabba Mevarach L'Olanu L'Omei Omayah. Yisbarach, Yishabach, Yisbar, Yismam, Yisnasei, Yisador, Yisalev, Yishalal, Shmei Good Shabrichu, Le'elam, Mikol Berachos Avashirasa, Tushlan Savanat Masad, Aviron Ramavim Ramei, Yisrael, Rabbanon, Beltamidehon, Yakol Tamidei Samidehon, Belcomandos, Skim Yaraisa, Yidas Rahadein, Vidibakala Saviasar, Yehilahon, Ulfon Slamarama, Fina Bachisa Brachmi, Machina Rika, Nuzoni Rubiche, Uporkanam, Karamabun, Dishmaya, Barabin Ramei. Hey, son Ramin Shemayim, Time Olain, Vel Koishavim, Ramen. Osai Shalom, Ramen, Shalom, Olain,
Voilà. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov,